There was a big run on the New York Times last Saturday, not because it had some earth-shattering breaking news or stunning photographs, but because it ran an editorial on its front page for the first time in almost 100 years. The front page editorial, titled "The Gun Epidemic," called for limits on the types of guns civilians can purchase, modified combat rifles, and certain kinds of ammunition. The editorial, of course, prompted predictable outrage in some quarters. Meanwhile, front-page editorials have become more common in recent years. Just this week, the Detroit Free Press published one denouncing Donald Trump's comments on Muslims. That didn't make much news. Then again, they are not the Gray Lady. By the way, that shot up was from Eric Erickson from Red State, and he did a whole thing, but saying it's an assault on the Second Amendment. But I mean, I thought it was significant because apparently the editorial board, Sulzberg, got together, Arthur Sulzberg, and said, we have to do something different. And they decided to make, because this is the fourth day after the San Bernardino shootings. They had done all the follow-ups. They said, we've got to make a statement. We've got to do something bigger. And they did.
One of the things that a print product can do that a website really can't is make a big statement in terms of by using placement and play. And that's what the front page still is. It's still considered valuable real estate, and it's still considered real. When something is above the fold, that's more important. You just can't make that kind of impact online.
That's true.
Except it is also true that in these days and times when people retweet or share, you don't know where it came from. So you're impressed by the product and not by necessarily the placement, that population. I'm just taking with Jack Schaefer's note saying if you're going to put it on the front page and it's a big deal, then it should be really, really compelling. He did not think it was so. And I was thinking, oh, maybe he's got a point.
Well, Jack doesn't think anything's very compelling.
All right, I'm just saying. I thought it was a valid point.
The way I look at it is to try to put a little bit of a twist on what Joanna said. Today, the print version of a newspaper isn't necessarily the most prominent or important thing it does. So newspapers kind of have to think about, what are we going to use this prominent display space for that's different from what we might do online? And so therefore, I think the temptation to take some chances that maybe you wouldn't have back when the print version was the main thing, that becomes a smart thing to do. I think the problem is the New York Times got a lot of attention for doing this once. It won't get any attention the next time. Right. So make sure you make it count.
In an era when so many people get their news online, and in which I think front page real estate has maybe been cheapened a little bit with columns on the front page, ads on the front page.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many people will even care that the Times put this on the front page or that other papers do this. And then of those people, I have no idea how many will say, I was undecided on guns, or I was a Second Amendment supporter, but the Times says we got to think differently.
Although
Let's
our
take a
colleague
look at this.
Peter Kazis, as you heard him say this morning, said you couldn't
Yep.
buy a New York Times in Jamaica Plain.
In Jamaica Plain.
Right. I understand that's funny,
Yeah.
but he had to go downtown to get a New York Times. It's just something, a collector's item. He wanted to have it.